So I'm going to show you how to get the hybrid RAG example working in the NVidia AI Workbench. And I haven't done this before, so if there's a bunch of dropouts, it's because I've got to figure out what I'm actually doing here. So when we create a new workstation project, you clone from a GitHub repo, and we can see here that this is a Workbench example, and it's got a .project, and it's got pre-build, post-build requirements and apt.txt, and those are all the standard stuff you see in a Workbench project that's already been built to be containerized and define the container. So I am just going to clone this thing here. And then what we're going to do is go over here to my computer, not my server today. And this will take a minute, and so I have this GPU sample I did the other day, and I have my COVID vaccination thing that I converted to be a workstation project. And so now we're going to clone a project, and we're going to clone this project, and it'll actually, yeah, you know what? Let's just clone it. So while that's still building, we're in 1 of 19 while it's downloading a bunch of crap stuff. We're going to run the TGI Hugging Face text generation interface base container, which I've never used before. So that'll be interesting. And it's CUDA. And we can see, so this thing can also talk to their API services, NVIDIA API services. So there's certificates, probably for self-signed certs, and other pieces are being installed to this container as part of the reason it's taking so long. You can see the Tesseract, and we've got the Jupyter Labs in here, and we've got a bunch of other components, long chain, and other pieces required for us to do this. And then there are some build scripts, and the only variables that we've really got here are the Docker host and some Hugging Face hub cache and those kinds of things. That's it. And oh, we do have a secret, but I think that's to talk to the remote one. I'm not going to do that. So we'll see how that goes. And you can see here that we have more than our normal mounts. In the default containers, we typically have one mount, and in this one we've got a couple. And so we can run Jupyter Lab, or we can run chat when this is done. So I'm going to pause this again while we wait for it to be finished. So we've got the build complete here. I have no idea how that edit's going to look. And we can see that we can start an environment, and we can decide, oh, it looks like there's two applications. We've got Jupyter Lab here, and we've got chat. So you know what we're going to do? We are going to start this environment. So we're going to try and see if we can turn on the chat part. It needs a key. I'm not actually going to need it. So let's try AAA. What if I put nothing here? Oh, look at that. But I don't need a key because I'm not going to use the cloud interface. So let's see what we can do. So this is our user interface, and I was actually tried earlier to do a search here, but not ready because there's no documents in here. So what we need to do is the initial setup. We're going to set up the RAG backend. This is one time. And we're going to use a vector database. The thing spun up, but really because I gave it the cloud endpoint key that was bogus. I'm not going to put it on a microservice. I don't want to use the cloud. I'm just going to use the local system. And so I'm not going to use the model I need to use as an ungated model, because otherwise I have to have a key. And so here's what we are. We're going to use the local system, and we're going to use the ungated models, and we're going to do 4-bit Mistral, NVIDIA Llama Q. These are the graded. Select a model. Yeah, so we get two possible models here that are ungated, and you can see the 4-gated up there. And then we're going to say load the model. This will take a little bit. Okay, so now we can see that we have a model, right? One of the things we can do is upload documents into the vector database here. And I'll do that in a minute. We can also start the server. So we've created the local interface. We're using the ungated models, and we enabled the a local vector database, which is where our uploaded documents are going to go for the chatbot. And I'm just going to run a couple queries here to see how this works. This area will become the typing area when it's ready, so I'm going to pause. Okay, I'm back. And so this whole thing's probably been like 20 minutes. So now we have a local inference engine that's been set up on this 12 gig video card. We're not using the cloud endpoint. We're using an ungated model, 4-bit, and we and we started the server and we got the vector database loaded. I haven't uploaded any documents yet, so let's see if can this thing do anything. This will run. I don't think it'll come up with anything. How many people live in the USA? And there is nothing in this document about this. So, oh, look at that. That's not true. So it turns out we're actually running the inference engine here. I should have paused. And we can also, the big reason we do this is so that we can upload documents, right? So now we could upload documents, add them, and they would become part of this LLM. And one of the things I really like about this is I've also running the RAG standalone app done by NVidia, and I kind of like this one because it doesn't install a bunch of stuff on my system itself. It just puts it all inside this containerized environment. So one of the questions that came up was, hey, how big is the hybrid RAG image that I'm running? And actually, with no documents loaded in it, it's a 28 gigabyte image, and it's got all this other stuff in it. And I'm going to go try and figure out how the vector database and other pieces are set up. And if I can do that, then maybe I'll add more or do another video about that. But that's really it here. We're running this project hybrid RAG that I cloned down from the repo, and I'll put the repo link in the video. And I put this in, but I didn't really need this environment thing. And that is because if you look at it, we really decided to run this on the local system, and I had a 12 gig card and it works. So now the question is, how many documents can I load?